I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Quarter Mile Podcast. I am your co-host, CJ Walton, here with the original host, Drew Davis, OG in the building, Drew Davis, who started this wonderful thing and brought me along for this ride, this Fast and Furious
Fast and
ride.
Furious ride. We're the wild ride.
Wild ride, which we're on. I'm so happy you guys are back. Make sure you guys are always checking us out. Make sure you guys are always staying tuned. I'm very excited today because we have my baby sister in the building today. So we're going to shoot over here really quick and look at my girl, my baby sister, who's doing amazing things in and outside of this city, comedian Cortney Warner. Bum, 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 bum. So y'all understand, like, she is killing the game. That's my baby sister.
On the podcast, in the house, in our presence. We are so lucky.
Like, dude, do you
We are. What a big deal.
The Cortney Warner. We have to start saying the Cortney Warner. Courtney, talk to us. Tell us who you are. Talk to us. And I want to know, what is your relationship with Fast and Furious? Because this is what we do up in here. We get fast, we get furious, we talk about it.
Yeah.
Family.
We're a family
Absolutely.
of Fast and Furious. Well, we are family. We are family. So
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm so excited to be here. Like CJ said, my name is Cortney Warner. I am a comedian and writer and producer based here in Nashville. And I run shows. I run a show at Third Man Records at the Blue Room. It's quarterly. I'm getting ready to do my next comedy special at the Blue Room. It'll be May 2nd. This is hot. I haven't really announced this officially.
It's
nice.
Quarter Mile podcast exclusive.
But yeah, I run comedy shows. I travel all over the country doing stand-up. I'm very lucky to do all that. And I just love making people laugh, and I like having a good time and being a silly goose.
You are a silly goose.
We like to get down and have fun, and because life is really hard. And
It is.
I remember I had someone tell me, I don't remember, because some authority figure adult tell me as a kid, and they're like, you either are going to laugh or you're going to cry.
This old white man told me that. He said 70% of the people don't care and 30% of the people do. He was like, so don't even worry about it. He had this old hat on, so if he had a hat on and suspenders, he don't give you some good advice.
The combo, but if it's one or the other, alone, then just run away.
Yeah. But what is your relationship with F&F, with Fast and Furious?
Tell us about the FU in your life.
What's the FU?
It's gonna, like, I don't necessarily know your entire audience, but I might piss off some people. And it was during COVID, and I had gotten my first round of vaccines, and I was so sick and bedridden from getting the vaccine, so I just like laid on my bed and watched all of the movies for the first time. They had them all on Hulu at the time, and like over the course of, I think, like maybe 2.5, 3 days. I went to the bathroom and got food and water, but I was just so like out of it. So that's what I did, and I think they're incredible. I think they're such fun movies. Like, you can tell they're all just giving it their all and having fun. And they know what they're doing. They know what kind of stuff they're making. And like, but also you need that kind of stuff, like, I know people like to criticize movies like that as not being high art, but I think it was Elizabeth Olsen who was in, the Marvel movies. And she was like, people who make fun of like those kind of popcorn movies they're the reason why theaters are still able to stay open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Movies can still get made, and stuff, and indie stuff can still be seen. So, and I agree with that. So I have a lot of love for those movies, and you can just tell those guys, they just put their whole heart and soul into it. And it takes a lot of work to make movies like that,
Absolutely.
I feel like she said all of that just because she was like, Paul Walker was fine. And I feel like
what she's really saying.
What she really said was,
it was so fine. I'm trying to think, like, he was in that movie. Wasn't he in some movie about like mushing, like with the dogs on the sleds?
I don't know. He was always in my dreams. So
The movie was called CJ's Dream, and it plays every night at 1 a.m.
Whenever I go to sleep, there he is.
Anyway, that's all I had to say about that.
They're very fun movies, and Paul Walker's hot. That's probably a lot of like people's Fast and Furious opinions.
So let's get into it right now. Like, let's get into this
All right.
cast.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. This. So first of all, this movie. Before we talk about this movie, we need to reference that The Italian Job was actually a remake of
Yes.
another Italian Job.
It was.
69. I've never seen that movie. Have you guys seen the?
Oh, yeah.
Was it good?
That's the funny thing. I seen that one a long time ago. I hadn't seen the Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah. So season 3, when we watch adjacent movies to the Fast and Furious movies, well, that's
Assistant to the regional manager.
yeah. So, which I guess I should, because I upset all of the Reddit community this week when I brought up the Italian Job in a Fast and Furious Reddit.
Yeah.
Because many, when I asked if they felt like this movie could be considered canon, the most common answer I got was absolutely not. The reason we're covering the Italian Job today on a Fast and Furious themed movie rewatch podcast
Yeah.
is there's 3 factors that make this movie related to Fast and Furious. One, this movie, as well as Fast and Furious 8, was directed by F. Gary Gray. And in addition to him being in Fast and Furious 8, that was also the introduction to Charlize Theron, who played the character Cypher. Of course, Jason Statham has been in since Fast 7, but he's in 8, and 9, and 10, and debatably one of the best parts of the series. And then another thing, so Jason Statham, who plays Deckard Shaw, was in Hobbs and Shaw, which is a movie we're reviewing in a few episodes.
Okay.
And in that movie, when him and The Rock are, doing their thing, he goes to his car garage that has old cars of his other cars, and someone points to a Mini Cooper, and he's like, "Oh, that's from an old job in Italy," which is a nod to this movie.
Yeah.
And over-the-top Fast fans like myself like to pretend that means that the Italian Job is, in fact, in Fast and Furious universe.
I could see that because maybe Jason Statham changed his identity,
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I could see that.
well,
I don't see how.
there's one
Yeah.
there's one glaring piece that makes it probably not possible, and that is Stella, Charlize Theron in The Italian Job, is a wonderful person,
Mhm.
and Cypher, Charlize Theron in Fast and Furious,
Furious
is a big villain.
Yeah.
And like 2 polar opposite characters, but it's Fast and Furious. They could totally make a backstory that went from how she became such a wonderful person to
Right.
like a terrible human being.
Well, we know how she could. I mean, from the Italian
Yeah,
Job.
Mark Wahlberg broke her heart.
Yeah.
It started with her dad.
Yeah, that's true.
Her dad
Maybe
was around.
Right. Remember with her dad, and then Mark
Mark does the same shit as her
my
dad.
ex-boyfriend
You know?
does that,
Yeah.
I think we need to start a news list on this podcast of all CJ's boyfriends and husbands, because currently we have not to consider actual human husband, we have Paul, we have Paul Walker, we have Sung Kang, we have Mark Wahlberg. Am I missing anyone? Did we have anyone last week in Superfast? I don't think Superfast had any of your husbands.
I think. Did we? No, none of them. No, Superfast didn't have any of my husbands, but did I like Michelle? No, boy.
Okay, there we go. Husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends.
No, I'm joking. That's good though. But yeah, like maybe it started with her dad
Yeah.
and not with Mark.
And or maybe we learn later that it was on like who she was an act, and that who she really was who she was in Fast and Furious. Also, here's the most interesting thing connection to the 2 movies, and it's a completely unconfirmed rumor, but I feel like it's like one of those conspiracy theories that has enough legs on it that you're like, well, maybe. So apparently there was a sequel script for The Italian Job, the Brazilian Job.
Yeah.
They never made it.
Right.
And the rumor is that Universal bought that script and made Fast 5, and that script was part of Fast 5.
Oh.
And when you watch Fast 5, that is when the genre goes into heist-type movies. That's where you have the big scene where they bring back all the characters from the previous movies, just like this opening scene
Right.
in Italian Job. But here's the part that really kind of nails the nail in the coffin for me, which is the bank robbery heist scene where they're dragging the bank vault is such a story on its own. It's like it's literally one of the best cinematic chase scenes in all of movies. And when you watch the rest of Fast and Furious chase scenes, we're not bringing that kind of volume
No.
with it.
Yeah.
But when you watch the Italian Job and you see that last scene with the helicopter and the Mini Coopers, like that tells a story. It's like the same people could have made
Right.
that scene in Fast Five.
Yeah.
So, like, listen, you who's listening to this podcast, believe whatever you want in life and all things. But, like, my personal opinion is it's probably true.
I could see. Yeah,
I could see
I
that.
could see that too. Because I mean, even like watching the two movies, like I know I'd seen the Italian Job actually before I'd ever seen the Fast movies, and now in retrospect, having kind of getting ready for the podcast, I'm like they are similar in tone, music, just
Very much so.
even the way they're shot. Although I will say, if we're kind of comparing things, music wise, it reminded me of The Matrix. The Italian Job.
Yeah.
I thought of like, oh, The Matrix immediately.
Really?
There's a few moments where like there were a few different. I'm trying to think of where they were, but when I heard the music, I was like, where have I heard this before? You know, I was like, oh, it's The Matrix.
I hate to say this, but the Italian Job put me in the mind of Ocean's 11 almost.
Yeah, I kind of had that
Yeah.
the whole like team and big
Right.
cast. Speaking of the cast, we had like
It's like star
yeah.
studded.
Baby, that
Wow.
cast was star
Absolutely. Especially
studded.
in 3. That's crazy.
Jesus.
Donald Sutherland.
Come on. R.I.P.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
man. The man.
I know.
Like I forgot about him kind of until I saw this movie.
Yeah, he's only in it for the beginning.
Yeah, but
And
Bill.
he's the dad.
but he makes such an impression at the
Yeah.
beginning there. Like he kills his part.
And keep in mind, he was in the 1969.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That maybe is why he like did so well and seemed like he was enjoying this role because maybe it harkened back to another movie for him. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in the '69.
So Michael Caine.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sir Michael Caine.
Karn.
we got Mark Wahlberg, of course, Edward Norton. Who this? Do you guys know this story about him and maybe this movie and just in general? Like, if he was a really convincing bad guy in this movie, and I think part of it was because he hated being in this movie. He had signed a certain amount of contract. I think this was after like the Hulk or something didn't go through, so like he owed them a movie.
That's right.
There was some bad blood or some situations
I
that
did not
happened.
know that.
And he. I've never actually met Edward Norton, but everything I read about him
Alleged.
is like
Say
one
allegedly.
Yeah,
For your mom's sake.
Yeah, just say allegedly.
allegedly.
The internet said
Allegedly.
Allegedly, he's very hard to work with, and in this, but
I
apparently,
believe that
this-
allegedly.
apparently he owed them a movie, and this was the last one in his deal. So if it looked like he didn't want to be there,
Yeah.
but you know what? Honestly, like maybe that also added because he was a good villain in this movie.
But he was a
He was a menace.
I just say I also thought he was hot in this movie.
wasn't yeah, he was attractive.
I don't
he was attractive.
He reminds me of. He just reminds me of other people that I've met before. Like the look he had, where I was like, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
cute," but also what a piece of shit.
And maybe that was like extra attractive. Maybe
It's like I'll never meet this man.
But was he attractive with the mustache or in the one car scene where he didn't have a mustache?
I like the mustache.
Did you know there was like in a chase scene at one point? I'm like, wait, did he shave?
Get a clean shave.
Which was a scene from Superfast actually during one of the chase scenes. Look at us referencing.
Loving it. Loving it.
So we had Mark Wahlberg, Edward Norton, Charlize Theron. This might have been the best looking she's been in my opinion. It's like
Yeah.
this was the first movie I was introduced to Charlize Theron, and I've been a fan
Okay,
ever since.
okay.
So
I mean, I think the first movie I saw of hers was Monster. So
Really?
she looks very different.
very different in that. So to the point where I forgot.
Hey,
Yeah.
when you get money, money changes.
Yeah.
Got that Oscar.
That's true. Yeah, Jason Statham, of course, classic Deckard Shaw himself.
Yeah.
The whole reason we're watching this movie
Exactly.
that it applies to the podcast. Seth Green.
Yeah.
My guy.
I'm
My.
I'm such a
guy.
fan of Seth Green.
I am such a fan of Seth Green.
Too, and he doesn't pop up super often.
No,
It's like
There he is.
he was literally my favorite character in this movie.
I would stalk Seth Green.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love Seth Green.
but I feel like he'd see you and then be like, "No, you can hang. Let the
I don't know. Maybe.
He reminds me a little bit of like Charlie Day too. I
Yeah.
think just the vibe. I'm like, oh, was this Charlie Day before, like the prototype for like the
Charlie."
Yeah, he
Sure
doesn't
did.
get enough credit. Seth Green is a good
Yeah.
actor. He does
Well,
not get
good
enough
actor.
credit.
He's a good actor, but like, isn't he also like writing Family Guy? Like, isn't he?
Yeah,
He doesn't act that much now because he doesn't need to.
Yeah. Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't need to do anything.
Robot Chicken and like
Yeah,
Ted or something like
yeah,
that.
Ted, Robot Chicken, Austin Powers,
That's
Rat Race.
Rat Race.
that classic.
I mean, the man has his IMDb is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He has a vision. He has a lot of brevity, you know.
Yeah,
So,
he was my favorite, and of course,
yeah.
you can't finish the cast without saying Mos Def.
Come on,
Uh,
that man,
Cool rapper cameo, am I right?
cool rapper cameo.
yes, like with the Ja Rule. I mean, you
Yeah.
know.
No, Luda, Ja Rule,
Little Bow Wow.
Bow Wow. Who else? Rapper cameo.
That's my theory is why the Fast movies always had such good music. You know, because they just knew everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, their soundtrack.
But no, Mos Def is probably
Is your other husband?
yes, he is.
Okay.
But he is my other husband. But he is also one of the most underrated musicians turned actors that we have. I met him, here's a fun I met him at the what was Bridgestone. So I met him at the Bridgestone. And if you remember the Boondocks, Mos Def's voice is on everything.
Yeah.
Like the man has even been on Sesame Street.
That's crazy.
But he played a character on Boondocks to the point where as soon as I saw him, I went straight into character mode, and he answered me back in character.
Oh, that's fun.
And when I tell you, I was so happy. And then Kenny's co-host on the radio, Sissy, was like, "What are you talking about?" And me and him both looked at her, and he was like, "You don't get it, never mind." I was like, "I can go home now, okay?"
That's
Because
cool.
he literally, he literally did. I was like, if I ever meet Mos Def, I'm going to say this to him, and I said it, and he said it right back.
Oh, that's so cool. What did you say? What did you say?
Can't remember right now.
Oh, well,
It'll come back to me in a minute. But
credit scene.
absolutely. That is literally whatever we're doing. Interrupt us and tell us what it is. That's so cool. So
just blurt it out.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Hold on. But keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. It was Gangstalicious. Mariah so vicious. I eat. So delicious.
I love it.
He was Gangstalicious on Boondocks, and he was a couple of other different voices. But I walked up to him, I was like, Gangstalicious. No, right? He was like,
I love that.
and he had on a Predators jersey.
What fans of the president?
The president press. But Mos Def is probably, and you should check his IMDb out because he also was in another movie that we definitely have to watch. It was The Man with Hands, where he was a doctor who they didn't realize because he was a black man that he could actually perform surgery. Now, I want to say he might have been Daniel Hill, like the first open heart surgeon.
That's awesome. I have not seen that. That sounds like a good movie.
That sounds like that sounds really good.
I'll look it up. Go ahead, let's keep going.
Well, now, in case you haven't seen The Italian Job, and you're like, what movie are these people talking to, and why am I listening to an episode of a podcast I've never... Right, yeah.
So many... This cast, like she said, it was a star-studded cast.
Which... In that, I feel like in this time,
Yeah.
that was like the name of the game for movies, like Ocean's 11. You mentioned that, like let's put everyone, and which I like. It sets me up to go in. Even the movie's not great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in with a positive attitude.
Yeah.
My brain's like, well, there's got all this amazing cast.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe I shouldn't do that because like there's plenty of movies where we a few weeks ago we covered Better Luck Tomorrow and we were like never heard of any of these people, but that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Super Fast. I don't know if that's the best example, but we had plenty of unknown names there and it was fun enough. So,
I'm sorry, I liked it. I loved it.
They prey on unknown actors. I'm like, yeah, do you want to be in a Fast and Furious like movie?
I would be like, yes. I'd be like, I'd pay you.
Do you want to kind of be in Scream? You know,
Absolutely. Well, if you haven't seen The Italian Job, we have such a treat for you. We called and couldn't get Mark Wahlberg tonight. It was tough. I tried, but he had a scheduling conflict.
He'll do it again.
But maybe next time. But what we did get is we do have an AI plot summary for you from the perspective of Charlie/Mark Wahlberg and Courtney, our guest host and amazing comedian and person and impersonator and
let's not say
just, they call her Morph the X-Men because
that's good.
for that.
Morph the X. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Anyway, she's going to read our AI plot summary with her best and or worst Paul Walker impression. Nope, Mark Wahlberg impression Thank God.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know how to be a hot guy. So
I do feel like the Paul Walker impression would be you just reading it. And then just,
and
Yeah.
just staring, just like,
Yep. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, your AI plot summary for The Italian Job.
yeah, I gotta get in my character. I parked my car at Harvard Yard. Okay, now I'm fucking Boston and I'm out of breath now, and job. It's Italian and there's a fucking job. And like my boss, who I analyze, like he gets fucking shot in front of me and it's like a Batman situation, but he's not my dad. And also his daughter's like super hot, but like she fucking hates me because she thinks it's my fault her dad died. And then after that, then we have to go find Edward Norton, motherfucker. I thought he was still just a figment. Brad Pitt's a man. No, that's the opposite of the fucking Fight Club. We don't talk about that shit here up in the family. Now give me my Samuel Adams. Where the fuck is it? Anyway, speaking of my Oktoberfest over here, and the Italian Job, man, I love that movie. That's back when I was still fucking hot. I was still coming off of the time when I did Boogie Nights. Paul Thomas Anderson, why don't you ever fucking call me? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the Italian Job, those motherfuckers, what a great fucking experience. I got to show off that I was more than just Marky Mark, I could carry a movie with 8 other leads too, but I was the star, and we were in Italy, and we got gold. We had gold from under the ocean, and then we take in. Then Edward Norton, that little Weasley motherfucker, he like takes it away. He double crosses us and kills our main guy, and then we end up going after him. And there's a lot of fight scenes and chases. And Charlize Theron can pick locks like no other. And also, we fall fucking in love. Who gives a shit? Anyway, we get the money back, but there's not that much left, and then we win, and that's the fucking movie, okay? So damn it, where's my Dunkin' Donuts? Okay, I think I offended everyone.
That was perfect.
That was great.
That was great. Wow.
And that's how the movie goes.
That's it. You have seen the movie now.
You've seen the movie. And so now for the rest of there you go. So for the rest of the episode, we have to talk like we're from Boston.
Yeah.
A
Transcendent.
Thank you, transcendent experience. That was. I feel like that's how Pentecostal people talk about the Holy Spirit. That was
tongues.
Yeah, that something happened there. Thank you, Courtney? Question mark.
Blackout.
Yeah, that was. What's funny is, ladies and gentlemen, I give them a plot summary to read if they want, and Courtney just she channeled the inner Mark. I'm so glad you didn't. What you did was so much better.
Oh, I mean, it was right there. I was like, she should read it, but don't even worry about it.
I'm so glad you didn't.
Didn't even. Mini Coopers. Okay, we're there. You can.
Yeah, because you forget the Mini Coopers. The Mini Coopers are especially important, and Mini Coopers are especially important because it was in the first Italian Job.
Like they made them look cool, like they could actually do.
It's not that just they made them look cool. You have to understand that because of the weight, the Mini Cooper.
Let's talk about some fast fan feedback.
It is time for fast fan feedback.
Listen, I did almost break the internet by pissing people off by connecting Italian Job and Fast and Furious.
This is what I don't understand. Why were they mad?
Because they were like, absolutely not. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And anyway,
I want to hear some of this.
So I gave mostly the nice ones. But before we get to the Reddit comments, I did get Joe from Instagram, who regularly votes and follows our stuff, and you guys were talking about Mini Coopers, and his opinion was this movie tried to make the Mini Cooper cool. Failed.
Hey,
I thought with it too, so I'm like, I know people with Mini Coopers, and they'll die on that hill with a Mini Cooper, but I'm like, they're always broken.
No, it's not that. It's because of 1969. Because
that was the car in the.
That was the original car, right?
Yeah. It was funny though. I remember the first time I watched it, and this time I watched it, and every time I've watched it, I've always been thinking they make Mini Coopers look way cooler than they are. When the first opening scene of Charlize driving, I'm just like, who does that? Anyway, now one of these comments. This is a really well thought out answer, but also a strong disagreement. It was from Sarah Q, who has frequently responded to us on Reddit, and she gives the most in depth. At one point, we just read her plot summary of a movie because we were like, that's better than what we came up with.
Yeah.
So again, I was like, do you guys think it's part of the Fast universe, or could it be? And she said, no, the Italian Job is absolutely not part of the Fast universe. The Mini Cooper gag was just a wink to Statham's previous car-related film work.
Wow.
But then she takes it a step further because she's like, but I'll tell you what it is a wink to. She's like, now, If you asked if Statham's transporter films were part of the same universe, that works much better. It's still a crack theory, but it's a better fit so far as silly crossover universes are concerned. And then she goes further. If you want to really build out a crossover universe, you might as well consider to add Statham's 2008 film Death Race to the mix. The film co-starred Tyrese Gibson, Roman, and featured custom-built racers. And I was like, oh, that's enough. And then she said, Statham has also worked with Sung Kang in the 2007 crime film War, and Luke Evans in the 2011 crime film Blitz. Those were not car movies like the Transporter films or Death Race, so I don't think they have to be Easter eggs in the Fast films related to them. Now, I'm curious to go back and watch War to see if Sung Kang is shown snacking on nuts in the movie like he is in Tokyo Drift.
Oh, wow. That is like, damn, I wish I had that much time.
I like this guy's answer. Two-Headed Horseman says, when I saw Hobbs and Shaw in theaters, I felt like the statement about the Mini made it canon. It's likely up to us to decide whether we want to believe it or not, but I'm choosing to believe.
Santa Claus.
That's what.
What a nice answer, Two-Headed Horseman.
That's so sweet.
Right?
It was a Tukey.
Polar Express shit, you know?
I loved that movie.
And then Annie Tomatillo 1323, who we also had a comment from for Superfast.
We did.
The only qualifications for something to be in the FU are these three factors.
Okay.
Is family a main component? Does someone jump from a moving vehicle to another moving? Is there a shot of a butt that feels forced?
That is a good point.
The shot of a butt.
And nowadays the butt still has to be nice. Like that little cup under. He's right. That is a good point.
It's good rubric. Too.
Yeah.
It's
I don't.
in the fast. And so with
I don't care about the moving car. I do care about the shot of the butt. It has to be right at the bottom.
I like a good butt shot.
Yeah. Like I want to see. I want to see like the lower part of your back, and then that's it.
And I feel like the music. Like the that's a key part of the shot of the butt, like a cool song in the background.
Yeah. Never walking. You know, the butts are never walking. They're always standing there jiggling.
You know, when you have a butt like that, you need to stand and let people appreciate it.
I get it.
So.
Power of movie magic right there. That's
I will say the Italian Job had the cars, had the reference to family. While there wasn't a butt scene, I'm gonna substitute. We saw a lot of needless Charlize Theron in her bra. A lot. Like to the point where like he broke into the room just so we could have a scene or something.
Just that felt forced. It's like you can't. Okay, yeah.
They really did ask her, was she okay with nudity?
Right. Yeah,
they had to.
I get that they probably felt close. She had her dad, and her dad raised him like a son. They obviously were buddies beforehand, but like, close do you have to be to go to visit someone at their hotel room? And just knock on the door. They're not answering. So what do? Break in casually?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't think unless I smelled like a dead carcass, thinking like, oh, they're dead. I wouldn't probably go in there.
No, and even if I smell a dead carcass, I'm not going in.
Yeah,
dang it. Then I think,
yeah,
what do you do?
That was ballsy of Marky Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on it. But again,
thing though, I feel like
he's Marky Mark.
Yeah, he pulls it off.
Remember, he said, "Do not call him that." So, Mark, we're sorry. I forgot.
My bad. I forgot. I actually, completely forgot. Speaking of things in general, what are our thoughts on this movie? I don't know if anyone wants to jump in first. I can pose my first question that I was thinking about.
What's your first question?
Okay, so you were on this crew.
Okay.
Which character are you? Not so much like which person, but like, are you Jason Statham, the driver? Are you Napster, the hack person? Are you Charlie's the safe cracker? Yeah. Charlie, the tactician.
Yeah.
I'm Seth. I'm the Napster.
Okay.
Even though he said that he stole that idea from him. I'm the Napster.
I think about that every time anyone references Napster.
You know, that was the original guy who...
Yeah, that's so cool, yeah.
So that's who I am. Who are you?
You're the tech.
I think because I often get asked to drive when I do, I probably would be Jason Statham because people are like, can you just drive? And I'm like, sure, why not? So
yeah, okay.
I feel like whenever I do shows or whatever out of town, like usually I end up driving. So that would probably, in my mind, I'd be, picking locks, but I think I'm just the driver.
The driver. I am absolutely not the driver. That's for sure.
Yeah, no.
I have a terrible driving history, and It's when I watch Fast and Furious, I'm like, I wish, but I know me well enough. I do like to like organize and put things together. So in that regards, I feel like I could be like Charlie in that.
I could see that for you.
I'm also a techie though, so maybe Napster. Like I also wouldn't mind while you all were having to deal with the
Honestly, sounds like
danger.
such a nice job.
So, I wouldn't mind being in the back and just green lights, you got it. So
Like I would not mind now if they, because again she still wasn't the sexy model turned actress
yeah,
in this.
who that was the character. We
No.
have so many references to
So many
that
references.
movie.
But I mean, if they did have that in there, then I would be that girl. Be most deaf. Like, okay, I got
Blowing
this.
things up.
Yeah,
Left ear.
yeah. I'm definitely a left ear. I'm like, all right. Let me tell you guys something.
Some like swag that he kind of course he has. You know, I could see that for you though too.
Every time I see this movie, and this is one of those movies where anytime it was on TV, I would watch the whole thing. Like that's why I really like this movie. Anytime I see this movie, and it's that scene where he's like, "I had a bad experience."
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know. What do you guys think was his dog bad experience?
Oh, the dog. Oh, and black folks don't deal with dogs like that. And if it got teeth, it bites. And
Yeah.
so that's just
Same.
that's just a.
Yeah.
If it got teeth, it bite. Well, they not going.
I believe it.
And a dog, 9 times out of 10, it didn't do nothing to him. It just probably chased him.
Which is enough. Like
And guess what
that's
it
enough.
was? It was probably a little Yorkie. And you was dead. And I'm sick of folk like that.
Yeah, I'd say he probably got bit or chased.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
It was when he was a kid too, because
And
then
it was
it's formative.
It was when he was about 5 or 6, and he's been done ever since.
yeah.
Honestly,
See that?
I get that. I'm not a big dog person. Your dog is fine. Your dog is the exception. The one thing I really liked about the movie was the good car chase scenes. Like that was really well written. And then the one critique I have is I would have liked a little bit more characterization because some of them
Yeah.
we got a lot of characterization for. So like Charlize Theron's Stella character, we knew so much about her in just that hour and a half or whatever. Even Seth Green's Lyle character, we knew so much about
Yeah.
him. We knew, but then you had other ones who like they opened up the door. I would have loved to know more about the connection between Stella's dad and Charlie. I would have loved to know more about like Handsome Rob.
Yeah.
How much, other than he's the driver.
He's the driver. Yeah.
It would have been interesting to tell more about the connection or history between Charlie and Steve, the villain,
Yeah.
because they clearly have issues with each other.
Right.
And they acted so well. Sometimes in movies you don't have to have all the information, and that's okay. But like it was fun to me because like it felt like the actors knew more about the story of these characters and they were playing into it.
I think that's also like an actor, and you can speak on this too, where I remember seeing like an interview with, I think Jordan Peele being like, whenever he writes a movie and has an actor cast, he's like, now you're the expert on this character. You can tell me as the director what this character's
I love that.
And so I think I'm willing to bet since all of those people are like Oscar winning actors, been in all these high profile movies, like before and after a talent job, they probably came in, some of them probably classically trained with that mindset of like, I'm going to know every inch of this character, and they're going to play into things that maybe weren't in the script, but also maybe are, implied. I would.
Yeah.
I definitely know that once you get a script, you're looking at it and you might not know what the director wants from you, but you're looking at it and you're trying to what choices you're going to make, what mood you're going to be in when you say this line, and this line.
Mhm.
I will say, and to your point, when it comes to Jordan, I don't know about any other directors. That is probably one director who I would love to be under because he is a teacher as well as a director.
Yeah.
So when it comes to these characters that were in Italian Job, you can tell that they were, the majority of them, 80% of them were very rounded out.
Yeah.
And that could have been because the director gave them a lot of leeway to be who they are and be themselves. And he was like, okay, I'm going to let you choose.
Right.
Yeah.
I did love, I felt like every actor in that movie did great.
Yeah.
The cast.
Yeah.
There's something else I wanted to comment on too. Like it is an almost 2-hour long movie, but it feels like it goes by so fast that it almost could have been a little bit longer just to get some more characterization because these people are interesting people. It's like, how did they all come to this lifestyle? Because
Yeah.
you get like with Seth's character, he got wrong. He got fucked over. So he's like, well, I'm just going to turn to a life of crime.
Yeah.
That's how I am, and then like someone like Stella was born into it and she's been around it. But like, is this what she really wanted to do? Like, did you have any other aspirations? Like, there's so many.
That means that means
We need the Brazilian job.
we need the Brazilian job.
Yeah.
We need the Brazilian job.
I do have some notes that I wrote down when I was watching it, like as far as my opinion. So I really, thought it did pay a good good homage to the original movie for sure. And
Oh yeah.
nostalgic, but also it didn't look dated, which I thought was really impressive.
No, it didn't.
Like it could have came out last year. I like the intros that Charlie did for all of them too, because a lot of issues I think with movies like that with big ensemble cast, it's a lot of tell but don't show. He was doing the narration. That is kind of a cheat that I think not in a bad way, but like he was showing all of them and giving them each their beat. So I think what we were picking up on with the roundedness of the characters is like those moments of like just seeing a flashback into their life, like seeing left here, like why is he left here? What was his motivation for life as a kid? That's what he was doing, and like just I don't know. I think that's maybe giving. It was good direction in that there wasn't maybe a lot of room to play with characterization, but they did the most with what they could in that runtime. I'm sure Universal, whoever was like, we have to keep it at this time. We need this many car chases, X, Y, because that's usually how those sorts of things work. But I think that there was a good effort with the cast and with the director and the editor of like, how can we pack in as much how can we pack as much like depth in this as we can? And I think that intro and also the outro too, like in the end credit scene, showing what they did with their money. I love that when they do that kind of stuff.
Kind of like a Robin Hood thing.
Yeah.
And it also just played more into the characterization. Like everyone did exactly what you thought they would do. Like I'm sorry to keep rambling about, but I just
No, it's great.
It's such a good example of that because I think it was and not to bring up yet another writer director, but Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary was saying that someone gave her writing advice where it's like how to write a character, and it's like it doesn't have to be as super complicated. It could just be as simple as how would each of those characters pick up a $5 bill. And just like what it like, and she kind of broke down all the characters in that movie, like how would they do that? And I felt like that end credit scene with the money was kind of that version of like each character did something different with that money that was so true to them that gave you kind of almost like a trick of like, oh, I know so much about this character just from that one thing they did with that money. So anyway, a rant over. I just really
love it.
I just thought it was so. Well, the movie deserves more flowers because it really does give the actors a lot to work with the little bit of characterization time that they have. So
it feels like you don't get movies like that anymore.
No,
it feels like there's always the motivation for a lot of new movies is to make money.
Yes,
there's certain things you did that it seems like all movies have to do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it feels like there's not as much focus on telling stories. There just doesn't seem as much focus on acting and the plot. Like it seems like it's all very cookie cutter. And then as a result, and I've noticed this as watching some of the movies we're watching. Sometimes I've been able to guest on the Movie Wars podcast, and sometimes they watch like older movies. And so it's a reminder you watch these movies where like the actors seem like they're enjoying it. The actors have characters that they're playing. There's a story that's being told.
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays when I watch newer movies, which I still love watching new movies because I also like like special effects and like where we've gone in there. But like one thing that kind of irks me is it's always like I feel like there's always someone telling you the story in the movie. There's always way too much exposition. They're not showing it to you. They're not making you experience it. You're not on the right. It's like you have a narrator as you're watching the movie.
Right,
absolutely.
There's no room for interpretation. And like again, I'll shut up about these directors and people, but one more shout out to David Lynch, R.I.P. That was one of his things that he was famously would never never give away like the meaning behind his movies. He's like, there's not enough stuff in this world where you can just form your own opinion about something.
Yeah. When we're able to interpret something and there isn't a drawn out conclusion, I feel like that's the space where art can do its most work.
I agree.
Because then like we can interpret it differently. It can connect with our emotions. And so, and some movies do that really well. And then some just like, here's the story and there's no leeway.
Right. So. Which I get sometimes, I think in certain like more socially conscious situations where you do need to be more spoon-feeding the audience with certain things. Like, no, you need to understand this experience. But I would say like maybe the Barbie movie might be an example of that, of like understanding just like remedial feminism, I guess.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, this is crazy that women deal with this or whatever, So some movies I think that does serve that, but other ones when it's just like they just don't have a lot of creativity. We're like, this is a story we are going to tell off the page. We're not going to change anything because I don't want to think about, or I don't know. But I think there's definitely a nuance to that,
Basically, what we're saying is if you want to believe the Italian Job is part of the Fast universe, you do it because it's art and art is meant to be interpreted.
And it's up to
you do it. So, yeah.
In the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just blast each other about their opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's share some fun Italian Job trivia.
Well, let's do it. I want to hear it. Let's go.
Actually, I like liked the little factoids I found here on this one. So during the production, Charlize Theron got 2 speeding tickets while driving in her own car.
Love that.
She just said that she got so used to filming driving so fast that she couldn't do it, like slow down on her way home. So this kind of goes to what we're talking. We were talking about the visual effects and just how realistic things look. There were no visual effects used for the scenes with the helicopter. So during the ending final chase scene, that helicopter actually did fly under like a freeway. Can you imagine being like someone
Just driving home.
like is that? I'm sorry. Is that a helicopter?
Right, like you're in LA or wherever they shot
So
it.
I was just going to say, where did they shoot this at?
I don't know. Maybe Italy.
This had to be shot in Italy.
Probably some of it in Italy, and I'm willing to bet probably Canada, because I think this was pre-Atlanta getting that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
I know-
true.
We do a lot of film. There's a lot of good spots to film in Canada. I feel like a lot of movies have.
Yeah, a lot of movies, a lot of TV.
Shout out to Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like you and respect you for what.
And I stand with you.
Right.
You don't like Drake though, so
That's fair.
sorry. That's just a me. Okay, whatever. I don't.
It's to her thing.
I'm okay.
I'm indifferent.
I'm indifferent.
Are you indifferent? That sounded like you had some different.
Cool with Drake. I'm all right with Drake. He cool. But let's keep going.
The beautiful woman in Lyle's house at the end of the movie is played by Kelly Brook, who at the time was Jason Statham's real girlfriend. That's cool. I wonder what she's up to now. It says at the time, so I'm wondering if that means they broke up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, Kelly.
Yeah.
When Charlie tells Lyle how many bricks there are, Lyle tells Charlie 208. He asks Lyle how much that's worth, and Lyle, after making a mistake, says 27 million. However, at the time, regular, non-decorated with dancer bricks were worth about 168,000 each, which would have made 208 bricks worth at least 35 million.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't know who was watching the movie and was like, I wonder if that's accurate.
Yeah.
You already know it was some math nerd. Some math nerd. Love you, math nerds.
You keep the world going right.
I have one downstairs right now. I have a math nerd.
We're going to get him to fact check that brick information.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, those are fun facts. Now, what the most fun for me is us giving our Too Fast, Too Furious rating on The Italian Job.
Yeah.
So, who wants to start?
Start. I'm gonna give it a Furious.
Whoa.
Are you serious? You're not messing with us?
I'm not. The reason is it's not that
so optimistic this entire time.
I know. It's not that I didn't like it. It was cool.
Okay.
It was cool. It's not that I wouldn't watch it again. I'm not gonna run to watch it again, but it definitely wasn't bad. But it's
Do you think it's because you saw the original first and you had that in your mind?
Yeah.
That's your Italian Job.
yeah.
I think that I honestly get that though. I saw this one before I saw the original, so
I saw the original and I was like, oh, let's do that. And I wasn't disappointed. They did really good. I especially love my girl Charlie, giving him that nice little shiner at the end.
Yep. That was
Love
a
you for
great
that,
scene.
Pooh Bear. Way to go, Pooh Bear. Love you, Pooh Bear. But it was cool. It was cool. I wasn't mad about it at all.
She was not mad. She wasn't furious, but she's giving it a furious.
Giving it a Furious.
I just in case we were keeping up, she gave Super Fast a Too Fast, and she's giving the Italian Job.
that's like okay. Well,
I want to see what they say about me in the comments. Like, what is wrong with her? Kick her off of the podcast.
I mean, I get Superfast is like a parody. That's fair.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm in a silly mood.
You're a silly goose.
I'm a silly goose.
All right,
You always
I
call me a silly
appreciate that.
goose.
I appreciate that. That is true. Like that movie was your speed, and especially knowing how much you enjoyed.
It's not that I would not watch The Italian Job again. Would I watch it? Would I watch it tomorrow? I wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
how you know it's a Too Fast.
over too fast. And
Yeah.
then there's
Yeah. Courtney, what about you?
I would give it, you know what? I'm going to give it a Too Fast for the nostalgia. And also just the fact that rewatching it again, I'm like, this practical effects, I think, is probably why it doesn't look so dated to me. Maybe some of the clothes, but that fashion's coming back around anyway. But like, I feel like it looks good for the time of it. They could have really phoned it in. And maybe some people think they might have done that. But I just think they did a good job with not just totally remaking the original, just not it both stylistically and also like storyline wise wasn't totally beat for beat. I feel like they had some differences, and cast was just so good. Like even though Edward Norton hated working on it, everyone like worked well together. They all like seemed to have chemistry in that way of like they played well off of each other. It felt like a good character piece in a weird way. Like, and like I wish there were more character pieces in heist movies like
Yeah.
that. And that
I
was,
just love you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love to pontificate about movies. This is just I've been looking forward to this.
We love having you here pontificating with us
Yeah.
about movies.
I haven't heard someone say that word in a long
Yeah.
time.
I know last week I said I didn't want to be giving out fast willy nilly. This week I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to give it a 2 fast.
Okay.
I first of all, I feel like I agree with everything you were saying, Courtney.
Yeah.
So like, I'll take one of those. When we rate these movies, to me, it's all about your personal preference. I don't like to, like objectively, whatever. Like I'm
Right.
just rating it as I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed seeing it just this morning when I watched it. I enjoyed seeing it in theaters.
Mhm.
It was the movie that in college, whenever it was on, we would just like watch it all
Yeah.
the way through. I feel like it was like in high school, it was a safe youth group movie. Like if you wanted to show your kids
See
something
that.
cool, but like you didn't want them to go to hell, you'd show them the
Right.
Italian Job, So like I've seen this
The
movie
FCA
so many times.
FCA related movie.
Yeah, like it's fun. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun. There's not,
Right, I get that.
maybe you get the edited
Shout
one
out
where
to
they don't
FCA.
show,
Right.
Charlize as much in her undergarments, but
Yeah.
but even that,
Did you say undergarment?
Undergarments. Her pantaloons.
Drew, you are now my baby brother
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you just said undergarment.
Yeah.
look at that, we're a family.
The fact that you just said undergarments, I love
Love it.
you
Yeah.
for that.
The youth group thing, I think that's where I saw it a lot too, because that movie, I forget that we're all different ages slightly.
Yeah.
That movie came out when I was 10. And
Yeah.
so I remember that just being shown in middle school youth group because it was like that. And eventually when the first Fantastic Four movie came out,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
it was played a lot in our youth group too. So I think maybe that's also that like child.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. But I thought it was a good movie. Now we get to the part of the night where I regain my lead in our me and CJ's competitions. We're at Drew's Best Bits. This is the part where I picked 3 scenes in the movie, and Courtney gets to play as well. Both Courtney and CJ will try to pick what I picked as the winning scene for my parameters for today. So I mentioned earlier that Seth Green's character Lyle was my favorite character in the movie. I really wanted to do this for Handsome Rob because like Deckard Shaw, he's the tie into Fast and Furious. But the more I watched it, the more I remembered I really like Lyle's character. Hey, it's just I just had to go.
It's about family and heart and butts forced in photos. So
Absolutely.
So to keep it in the of that franchise.
I was drinking, but this means like little shaky booties.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta have those shaky booties. So I've named this part of the section. It's Drew's Best Bits, but today we're doing Napster's Gnarly Nods. This is where I nodded and he seemed like that's a fun scene, and you guys have to pick the one that I liked the most. So
I like that.
Nod.
Good nod. So that I think that is, if that's not our best name for this section, the second best would be What the Furious Moments, when you just hated a movie so much and you're anyway. The first scene, I try to do these in order in the movie, so these are your options. The first was when he was doing the Handsome Rob impersonation while he was like hitting on while he got the shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would need. The second scene was when he was making all the lights green, and he just had like a dialogue to seemingly no one, where he was just talking to people. It had real geeker game vibes. Like, I've talked to the computer screen like that to myself, to nobody. And then the last one is actually the ending, where he's got Jason Statham's girlfriend at the time.
Right.
He had her in front of the stereo, and it was he's like, just stand over there. No, don't worry. And this poor woman was like, sure, why not? This doesn't seem weird at all.
This guy's rich. Cool.
So those are my 3 scenes. Which one do you all think is my most gnarly nod to Napster?
I think the second one.
I was gonna go with the second one too.
Second one, which was the green lights, and
Talking to
unfortunately,
himself, yeah.
unfortunately, no.
Drew, that's
Yeah. So I absolutely find it hysterical when you watch him do the Handsome Rob impersonation. And here's an added fact that makes it more hysterical. You can find it on YouTube, but that was all improv by Seth Green.
I love that.
And you can find an uncut version where he just keeps going for like 5 or 6 minutes.
That's amazing.
And so every time I see the short one, I'm reminded of the longer one. The good news is now I'm in the lead. 5-4, CJ with 4, me with 5. Courtney, you can come back anytime you want. Month.
History Month. I'm so sorry.
Exactly.
Another one for the white people.
Another one for the white people
So sorry.
during Black History Month.
That's disrespectful.
Okay, y'all look. They didn't give us much, and now they done took this win.
They took the best bits.
Took the best bits and the win. Well, no, man. No, seriously, like Courtney, thank you so much for coming out. Please, no, we're not. You're more than welcome. No, we're going to have you back.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have you back.
It's like, I mean, they're building a new Fast and Furious roller coaster in
Yeah, they
Universal
are.
Studios Hollywood. I've been on the ride in Orlando, which is terrible. Have you guys been on?
I have not.
Oh no, I'm not going on it.
The ride was
No.
awful, but I mean, the best part of it was the queue because it looks like Dom's garage and stuff.
Yeah.
Nods to the movies, but then the ride is ass.
Yeah, no.
Booty shaking ass. It's
No, he's doing
Not in the
he's
good
doing good enough.
ass.
He's doing good enough. Like with me watching this, it's because it's fast,
Yeah.
and I don't do
Yeah.
nothing fast.
Yeah. Well, that's
No, you're not gonna do a podcast review of the roller coaster.
Absolutely not. No. How about
We're gonna
this?
film it at that spot.
While you guys are there, I will film and make sure. Yeah, absolutely, because there is. Yeah, absolutely not.
There we go.
There's
What
no
a
way.
plan.
No, there is no way. But guys, really quick, I just wanted to say this before we head out. We're looking for sponsorships. If you or anybody you know that wants to come on and sponsor, make sure you hit up this young man right here, Drew Davis. Hit us up at Quarter Mile Podcast. We are always looking to spotlight you. We want to get your info out. We want to get your products out. We want to get your brand out. You know what I'm saying? And this is a small podcast, but I'm sorry, baby. But we have a big reach even within our own little tiny community, within our own comedy community, and we love to follow you. So please hit us back. If you know anyone that would like to get a spotlight on the Quarter Mile Podcast, hit us up. Please hit us up on all of our socials. Courtney, what is your social before we dip out of here?
So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Red Note. I'm on there now.
Everywhere, yeah.
TikTok. I'll tell you my TikTok, but it's more of like a troll account. So my TikTok is Thiccolo Machiavelli 13. Very different
Love
than
it.
everything. But like I just use that to repost stuff, so I don't do a whole lot on there. But all the important business ones to come find me on is Cortney Warner 13, and Cortney is spelled Cortney, and Warner like Warner Brothers, and the number 13, like the day of the month or the number.
Because it's a number. She said like the day of the month.
I don't know if you all have heard of this thing called 13.
It has a 1 and a 3.
Crazy.
It's 10 plus 3, or whichever way you do it. No,
Heard of this number? It's pretty niche.
no, but we want to thank you guys for always coming out, always looking at us, always supporting us. We are on all social media networks. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook at the Quarter Mile Podcast. And next week, what are we going to be watching?
Next week, we are reviewing the movie Redline.
Ooh,
Have you seen it?
no.
Neither have I. So we have a bonus content episode that we're going to do, and I'll tell you about that next week, but I'm just teasing it right now. And it's dramatic when you just tell them what you're doing.
Exactly.
We love a little tease out here.
Exactly. So make sure you come and check us out on all of the websites, all of the social medias, and make sure you live your life a quarter mile at a time.